Bucks against the Warriors from San Francisco. Leave the lights on for Steph Curry, and he's going to hurt you. 34 games with 30-plus points this season, most by a player 32 years or older since Kobe. All right, Lou Dort. I'm going to give it a shot, try to guard this guy Curry. Kind of loses him, and he's flying through everybody. Yeah, drop it in, and one. And then Curry going to lose Dort. Backdoor bucket. Warriors up early. Later in the quarter, Curry likes to just kind of run around, find his place in life, and there he is, still moving on the catch and release. Curry also do 3 fouls on Dort early. 17 points, 4 assists first half. Warriors up 12 at the break. Third quarter, they're up by a bunch. Curry, feed me. I'm hot. Just clear out. Oh, missed that. What's going on? Right back. No conscience. Warriors up 15. Thunder closes it a bit. It's an 8-point game here. Curry, light of 3. Thunder did not keep it 100. They gave up 118. Curry goes for 34.
3-point range, hitting 92.2% of his free throws. This dude is a sniper extraordinaire, the greatest sniper in the history of basketball. And when you consider that he can shoot from anywhere on the floor, left, right, or the top, wing, or the key, 20, 30, 40 feet away from the basket with regularity, there's nothing to talk about. When you consider what he brings to the table on that level and the efficiency with which he's doing it, and the fact that he's doing it this year without Klay Thompson, I just can't say enough that this dude, you can't foul him. You can't foul him. And when you go out there to contest his shots, you got to guard yourself from touching him or whatever, because he's money from the free throw line. He is a marksman, the likes of which we have never, ever, ever seen. And that is why I say he's the greatest offensive weapon. He got a handle. Kyrie Irving got a better handle. You see spot-up shooters that can shoot like that. Can't shoot off the dribble like him, no. You consider the multitude of weapons that he brings to his arsenal just to launch a shot. It's a shock when he misses threes, especially any open threes. This dude is just on another level, and that's why I say right now he's the greatest offensive player. Not the greatest player, but in terms of offensive weapon, because of his marksmanship and how he frightens defenses, I'd say yes. Right now.
I respectfully disagree. I can't argue with those points. I think that's all true, and he is in the conversation. So I have to respectfully disagree with this one. I got 3 names for you, Stephen A. Number 1, Kevin Durant. Played on the same team with Steph Curry. Let's leave the defense alone for a second. They really ran the offense through KD. He was the best offensive player on the team. He's also better defensively, and I realize it's because he's 7 feet tall and has a 7'6" wingspan. You go through all the stats when we talk about KD. But the fact is they were on the same team, and we could see with our own eyes KD was offensively better than Steph. So I got to put KD ahead of Steph. The second guy is James Harden. Now, Harden cannot shoot it like Steph. And I'll agree with you that just because you say, these 2 guys can both shoot, doesn't make them the same. Steph shoots better than anyone who ever lived, and that's worth a lot. And the ball doesn't stick with Steph, so you can have a nice fluid offense with Steph. Everything you said about him is true with his handles and everything. But Harden can do some things on offense. You mentioned post up, which Steph can't do because he's too light, Harden can do some things that Steph can't do. And Harden has shown this season that he conducts an offense better than anyone except maybe LeBron. That includes Steph and Luka and everyone. What we saw from Harden now. And offense is not just about scoring or shooting. It's about the overall offense of the team. So that makes Harden, who can also shoot it from outside, step back and take 10, 11 a game and hit a whole bunch. Not as much as Steph, but that's just one part of his game. You look at Harden like that, even him missing games now, that's not like Harden. Harden's been more durable than Steph. But when he's on the floor as an offensive weapon this year, I have to give him the edge. And then finally, there's Damian Lillard. Stephen A., everything Damian Lillard does on offense that makes you go, wow, Steph does a little bit better. I'll give you that. And Steph also showed Damian Lillard the way. Steph is the trailblazer, and Lillard is derivative of him, meaning Steph had the big imagination. I could shoot from way back there. Steph's one of the most influential players who ever lived. So I'm not saying Lillard copied him and did even better than Steph. He's kind of playing Kobe to Steph's Jordan in that way. However, Lillard is the most clutch player in the game, Stephen A. And the higher leverage moments when you're playing offense, that means something to me. I saw Steph, and he played well against her. He won a game against Kawhi in Toronto when they were shorthanded. That was amazing, Steph. But I've also seen him in a Game 7, fate of the universe on the line, greatest record of all time, greatest half-court offense of all time. He's conducting the offense at home, fourth quarter, Game 7. They didn't score a single point in the last 4 minutes and 22 seconds. I don't forget that. So comparing him to Lillard, I maybe give Lillard the edge because when it matters most, I trust him a little more. Those are three names. Steph's in the conversation, but I can't put him above those three guys.
You're wrong on all three. Number one, I love Lillard, and Lillard would be second to Steph Curry. He's a career 37% shooter from three-point range, a career 43% shooter. And even though we've seen Lillard come on as of late and we've seen him hit many clutch shots in his career, there's also times where he's been swept in the playoffs by New Orleans with Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, and others, where we ask questions about where were they and whatever. You know, Lillard's a top 2 candidate for league MVP right now. I hope he wins it. He's a great brother, a great player. You know, and I'm rooting for him. But make no mistake, he's not Steph Curry when it comes to that. Not to mention the fact that as great as Lillard is, he doesn't move without the ball the way that Steph Curry does. And that obviously compromises defense because they got to have their head on a swivel because you're looking for where Steph Curry is. You always seem to know where Damian Lillard is. He just makes those shots. So there's something to be said about the ability to make others better by what you do in terms of your movement and how you distract defenses so it can open up opportunities for other people. That's why I wouldn't give Lillard the edge there. When you talk about James Harden, he shoots 44% from the field for his career, 36% from three-point range. We know that he holds the ball, even though he hasn't done that this year, and has shown an ability to really be selfless and really make liars out of a whole bunch of people who were labeling him as such. The bottom line is, again, the impact that he has on an opposing defense isn't the same because even though you can't stop him, although he's capable of making other people better, the career has shown through the 8 years or so in Houston that even though there are times when he did that, the bottom line is he was ball dominant and he did what he did. When you look at what Steph Curry has been doing consistently, not only is he your point guard, but you run the offense through him, not just for him to run plays for other people, but because of his movement, again, you do it for him as well. And this is what he causes, the havoc that he wreaks on defenses because of his movement without the basketball and his marksmanship. And then, of course, there's Kevin Durant. We all know that Kevin Durant was the best player on the Golden State Warriors. We all know he's a better player than Steph Curry right now when healthy. We get all of that. But when you talk about the greatest offensive weapon, what's the one knock that you can place against Kevin Durant? It's a lack of aggression. Steph Curry is shooting over 20 shots a game right now. Kevin Durant has shot over 20 shots a game twice in his career. The lack of aggression, the lack of assertiveness, clearly he wants to do things the right way, and that's a priority. But because he has been somebody that was willing to defer on far too many occasions and was devoid of that level of aggression per se, that's one of the reasons that we questioned whether or not he was number one or even above LeBron or whatever, because there were too many moments and too many times when Kevin Durant didn't call for the ball like he did that time with Draymond Green against the Clippers when they got into it on the sideline thereafter. We didn't see Kevin Durant on a lot of occasions calling for the ball and demanding it when time allowed or when moments allowed. So those are the kind of things that get counted against you as well. I still say Steph Curry, in terms of all the ingredients that come with it, he's number one. Right.
Okay.
James Harden, number 2.
Okay.
All right, because we ignoring injuries and all of that stuff. We just talk about what we've seen from people this season. And obviously Steph Curry, number 1.
Well, number 5, I'll put CP3. I think he's number 4. I have Dame, and Steph has to be above Dame because Dame has, carried a big load this year, started to tail off. Steph stayed hot. James Harden is as good a point guard as has ever existed this year until he got hurt. He was already great. He took his game to another level. And the reason I do have LeBron James, even if he says he's in decline, even LeBron in decline is better than everyone else. Maybe. But they're going to have to prove it in the playoffs. Harden will have to prove it in the playoffs to have me put him ahead of LeBron. Here's why I put LeBron on and not Luka, Stephen A. You said you're not going to include forwards. Luka's a forward. Because I'm taking guys who initiate the offense, who are the primary ball handlers, playmakers, and who guard the other teams, at least one player in the other team's backcourt. LeBron, I've seen shut down a prime D Rose
For
as an MVP.
a
in the
player
playoffs.
two.
No, I've
For a player
I've
two.
seen LeBron shut down elite guards in playoff games. That's not Luka. Now, Harden's not a great defender, but he does defend guards. Every one on my list defends backcourt players routinely, initiates their offense, and is the primary ball handler playmaker. I think LeBron James is not only the greatest point guard today, but in fact, he is the guy who has replaced Magic as the greatest point guard of all time. If you're making your all-time list, you put LeBron at the point.
Well, listen, if you're doing that, I'm not going to knock you for that. I understand it. It's just that when they were looking after they lost Ronda, they went out and they got Dennis Schroeder for a reason. You understand? Because he's essentially your point guard and somebody to take the pressure off LeBron when you don't want LeBron hampered with those obligations all the time. Whereas when you look at Rick Carlisle in Dallas, he said, I came to my senses when I interviewed him and asked him this question. He said, what the hell were we doing, Luka's rookie year? What were we doing that was wrong? We didn't put the ball in his hands and let him run our team. He's our point guard, his exact words. And so when I look at it from that perspective, that's the only reason I don't have LeBron on the list. That's it. Yep. Okay. I look at James Harden. He's a scorer. Remember, Kyrie's supposed to be a point guard, but he's your off guard this year because James Harden is a point guard. So you see what I'm saying? We understand it. So again, we know who the talent is and we know what they do. But I'm just talking about in terms of this year, what you're seeing from people who actually are listed as playing the position and running the offense, both, not just running the offense, but playing the position and running the offense. You designate them as your point guard. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God ever created. And because he's such a marksman, combined with his extraordinary movement without the ball, combined with his ball handling skills, Allen Iverson, Matt Kellerman, called me the other morning at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning.
AI doing up at 8 in the morning.
You'd be surprised. My brother's doing all right. But let me tell you this right now. He gets up. He said, Steph is different. he was all stuttering there. Steph is different. He's just different. I mean, damn. Because that's how you marvel at the greatness of this dude that he loves. Remember, AI loves Russell Westbrook. But we're seeing something. This is we talk about once in a generation. We have never, ever seen a Steph Curry. Ever.
But guys,
ever. We have never seen it. And then you got Dame, and we know what a clutch player Dame is, and James Harden, Luka, CP3 is having an MVP, top 2 MVP candidate caliber year.
I don't agree with that.
So I don't know how you can't agree with that.
Top 5, arguably top 3. Look, I'll say this. You're giving Harden the short shrift here. Harden does not shoot it like Steph, as you said. No one in history ever shot it like Steph.
Right.
And Harden has fallen flat deep in the playoffs too often. But right up until that point, Harden has been MVP caliber every single year. And unlike Steph, he's the one dude this year. Tell me even one other player who ever lived who can run your offense like Harden, who has the court vision of Harden, the judgment of James Harden, the passing ability of James Harden with the ability to score from anywhere, get to the paint, free throws, three-point shot. Tell me one other player who does every single thing on Harden level. If he had succeeded already deep in the playoffs, it would be a wrap. But as is, Stephen A., I think that Steph Curry's shooting does not. James Harden took a much inferior team and came that close to beating Steph Game 7.
Stay with me, because I want to be very, very careful about what I'm saying here. Because I'm not you. I believe in James Harden. You like him, and you like what you see him, but you point out what he's done in the playoffs. Right. I'm not as hard about him in the playoffs the way that you are, because I've seen what he's been up against, and I didn't see him completely tank and fall apart. Only one year when he didn't show up in the Game 6 against San Antonio. Having said all of that, this is what I would tell you. Max Kellerman, I watched Brooklyn. And to watch the game today and what they record as an assist. I mean, I've seen them give dudes assists. I pass it to Max. Max passes it to Molly, and Molly shoots and scores, and I get the assist. But you're the one that passed it to her. You're like, what is this?
Hockey assist.
And then you see them playing, just toying with competition. Because I've seen James Harden get assists when all he did was dribble the ball past half court and throw it to one wing or the other.
Russell Westbrook's crushing it with the assist.
I'm with you, but his team was winning. His team was winning when it was just him and KD. his team was winning when it was just him.
Well, he's up there. That's why I got him
His
as 2.
team was winning when it was just him.
I got him
no
as
matter
2.
who they were playing. And as soon as he's out and it's KD,
I got him as
Kyrie,
2.
He needs to come back.
I got him as 2. I just gave you why he ain't won.
All right.
That's
well,
Steph Curry.
LeBron for me.
We'll leave it there.